You know, there's a cruel and very simple secret behind why the law of attraction fails for most people. And believe me, if you're watching this video right now, chances are you've already felt that frustration. You think you're doing everything right, affirming, visualizing, dreaming, yet nothing truly seems to change. Have you ever wondered why this happens? Why so many people read books, watch videos, attend seminars, and still don't attract the prosperity, love, and health they so desperately desire? The answer, often, isn't hidden in what you're asking the universe for, but in who you believe yourself to be, deep down. Decades ago, my own life mirrored this very problem. I grew up with a deeply negative self-image. I had little ambition, never finished high school, dropped out of technical school after injuring my thumb on a saw, and ended up working what I called mindless jobs. Factories, gas stations, changing tires, oil changes, anything just to get by. It was only when a friend introduced me to Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, that something truly shifted. That book made me realize that no matter how challenging my external circumstances were, the power resided in my mind, in my inner belief, in the paradigm I held of myself. A paradigm is like a deep mental program. If that program is flawed, it sabotages everything I try to manifest. So if you're doing affirmations and visualizations, but you maintain a self-image of scarcity, unworthiness, or failure, you're essentially trying to build a beautiful castle on a shaky foundation. Without fixing that paradigm, without rebuilding what you truly think about yourself, the law of attraction simply becomes another empty wish. And here's the first major shock. The law of attraction isn't just about positive thinking. It's not magic or luck. It's about vibrating at the right frequency. And that right frequency comes from within, from your self-image. If you're vibrating doubt, low self-worth, financial fear, emotional scarcity, that's precisely what you'll attract. More doubt, more scarcity, more of everything you dread. Now imagine how many people give up halfway. They quit because it didn't work fast enough, or because visualization without internal change seems to have no effect. Most don't even notice that their inner self is silently sabotaging their requests. This is why the law of attraction fails for 90% of people. They don't do the deeper work. But it doesn't have to be this way. There is a choice to reconstruct your paradigm, to rewrite the mental blueprint that dictates who you believe yourself to be. If you're willing to look inward, to question your most intimate beliefs, who do I really think I am? Do I truly deserve wealth? Am I capable of competing with others for success? Then, and only then, will you be activating the true law of attraction. Because ultimately, it's not the universe blocking your dreams, it's the limited self-image you carry. And the good news is, it can be transformed. Now, it's time to go deeper. You've seen why many people fail with the law of attraction. It's not due to a lack of technique, but because they don't address what's inside them. And that's exactly where true transformation begins, in reconstructing your paradigm, your self-image, that invisible program you carry in your subconscious. For years, I studied the mind as if it were the universe itself. I discovered that our internal autopilot, the paradigm, is like an airplane's thermostat. It regulates our results without us even realizing it. This thermostat was programmed from childhood by our family beliefs, our upbringing, traumas, and repetitions. And if this internal program is aligned with scarcity, fear, and doubt, it will continue to sabotage us, even when we affirmatively declare, I deserve abundance. Changing this paradigm isn't easy. It took me almost 9 years to understand and initiate this change within myself. So how do you do it? Based on my years of experience, there are 2 paths that truly work: a strong emotion or the constant repetition of a new idea. A deep emotional impact, positive or negative, can break the old program. But the most accessible way is repetition. You expose your subconscious to what you desire over and over until a new belief takes root. Think with me. Most people make affirmations or visualize their desires, but they don't repeat them deeply. They stop at the conscious mind. They don't nurture this new idea until it becomes part of their internal software. That's why many give up early, because there's no emotional vulnerability or true repetition. And there's another powerful point. Everything in the universe vibrates. I always say this, everything vibrates. When you change your internal frequency, from doubt to confidence, from scarcity to abundance, you begin to attract things that vibrate at the same frequency. It's not magic, it's mental physics. But to change your frequency, you have to decide. Actively decide to connect with who you want to be, not with who you've been. Now, let me give you a real-life example from my own experience. In the early years after leaving the fire department, I still feared failure. I had little money, limited formal education, and felt insignificant. It was only when I decided to commit to listening to the same lesson, the same idea, for hours in the car, in taxis, on buses, that I began to reprogram my subconscious. I literally drove for hours, listening to recordings of Think and Grow Rich, mentally repeating the concepts, until a new vision of myself began to solidify deep within me. This process was painful. It demanded discipline. But that's when the power of internal change became so immense that I was no longer the person who had left those mindless jobs, changing tires and lubricating cars. I ask you now, for how long have you insisted on mentally repeating your vision of wealth, of success, without realizing that the root of the problem lies in your untransformed paradigm? Are you willing to do this deep work, not for a few days, but persistently? If you truly want to activate the law of attraction in your life, dreaming isn't enough. You must decide, repeat, and vibrate at the new frequency of who you will become. And if you've stayed with me this far, if this content is making sense, if you feel there might be something within you needing this reconstruction, then I ask you, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel right now. This might seem simple, but for me, every subscription is a commitment you make to your own growth. And for this channel, it's the fuel to keep teaching and inspiring more lives to transform paradigms. When we talk about the reason why the law of attraction doesn't work for 90% of people, there's one point almost no one realizes, but it determines absolutely everything: internal emotional conflict. People say they want wealth, but they vibrate fear of losing money. They say they want success, but they carry a paradigm of self-sabotage. They want freedom, but they dread the responsibility that comes with it. And how can anyone attract what they fear? It's like trying to move forward with one foot on the accelerator while the other is on the brake. Many people spend their lives believing that positive thinking is enough. But tell me one thing. If you repeat in your mind, "I am prosperous," but every day you wake up remembering overdue bills, a paycheck that hasn't arrived, the insecurity of not knowing if you'll be able to support your family, which of these vibrations is truly dominating your emotional state? It's not the phrase, it's the feeling. It's always the feeling. The universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you are, what you feel, what you deeply believe when no one is watching. And there's something even deeper, the unconscious fear of prosperity. Sounds absurd, doesn't it? But a large number of people are afraid to prosper because they associate prosperity with rejection, envy, demands, responsibility, or loss of identity. How many times have you seen someone get close to growing in life and then suddenly experience an emotional collapse, make impulsive decisions, miss opportunities, or ruin relationships? That's not bad luck. That's a paradigm. I see this every day. People say they want extraordinary results, but they want to maintain an ordinary mindset. They want abundance, but they hold on to scarcity habits. They want to vibrate at a high frequency, but they consume negative news, destructive conversations, toxic comparisons. The mind cannot operate on two frequencies at the same time. You either vibrate according to your future, or you vibrate according to your past. There's no middle ground. And so you understand the power of this. Let me give you an example. Many people know Jim Carrey. Before he was a movie star, he was just a young man with self-esteem shattered by poverty. He slept in his car, had no prospects, and almost gave up on his career. Until he started using exactly this principle: repetition, visualization, and internal change. He saw himself acting, saw himself prospering, saw himself at a high frequency. He wrote himself a check for $10 million, written out in full, and kept it in his wallet. Years later, he received that exact amount for his first major film. Not because it was magic, but because he changed his vibration, his belief, and his identity. He became the kind of person who could receive that. But there's also the other side. Have you seen artists who achieve immense wealth and then suddenly everything collapses? It's striking how some gain fame, huge contracts, fortunes, and end up sabotaging everything because they don't have the mental structure to sustain it. They attract success, but they can't maintain it. While attracting is simple, sustaining it demands a robust sense of self. This has happened to countless celebrities who derailed their entire careers by neglecting their emotional well-being. And this is exactly what occurs with anyone attempting to use the law of attraction without transforming their core paradigm. And listen, there's a scientific reason for this. Numerous studies show that the human brain is programmed to seek internal coherence. This means, if your external life grows faster than your internal self-image, your mind will try to pull you back to your comfort level. That's why 80% of individuals who win the lottery revert to their previous financial state within a few years. They gained the money, but they didn't possess the identity aligned with that wealth. The problem is never the external outcome, it's always the internal programming. Now let me share something personal. There was a time in my life before everything began to change, when I was earning more money than I'd ever dreamed possible. And yet, deep down, I felt it wasn't mine. I felt that somehow, I didn't deserve it. And do you know what happened? I spent it all. Absolutely every single penny. I attracted opportunities and prosperity, but my self-image couldn't keep pace with this new level. And when your identity can't support the outcome, the result slips through your fingers. That's when I realized that if I didn't rebuild my internal self, I'd keep repeating the same cycle of gaining and losing wealth, gaining and losing wealth. And this realization deeply frightened me. This is why I constantly emphasize, you must become the person capable of holding on to what you wish to receive. You need to feel, breathe, believe, and live as if you are already your future self. And if you want a powerful challenge, do this. For the next 7 days, every time you pick up your phone or check your bank balance, quietly repeat, I am the kind of person who creates abundance, sustains abundance, and honors abundance. Do this with feeling. Do it with intent. This simple practice begins to reprogram the frequency you emit daily, because ultimately, it's not about asking the universe for things. It's about becoming the version of yourself that the universe recognizes as ready. There's a point where everything clicks. The moment you realize that the law of attraction isn't about manifesting external outcomes, but about cultivating internal coherence. I always say that life doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you've become. And here's the truth. Almost no one wants to admit. Most people try to change their lives without changing themselves. They seek out techniques, shortcuts, formulas, but avoid looking inward and confronting what truly limits them. Humans harbor a deep fear of confronting their own beliefs, a quiet apprehension of discovering that perhaps what's holding you back from prosperity isn't the government, your job, or the market, but rather yourself. And that realization can be painful. There's immense emotional resistance to acknowledging that we are responsible for the frequency we emit. But it is only when you embrace this responsibility that true transformation finally begins. And I ask you, how many times have you put off a dream because you believed you weren't capable? How many opportunities have you let slip by thinking they weren't for you? How many times have you seen someone prosper and attributed it to luck, instead of asking yourself what internal qualities allowed them to achieve that outcome? This occurs with the vast majority of people, not out of malice, but because we've been conditioned to believe we are victims of life rather than its creators. This conditioning is so potent that it shapes your thoughts, your results, and your posture towards the world. Science confirms that more than 90% of your daily thoughts are repetitive, automatic, and stem from your emotional state. And if your thoughts are repetitive and negative, how can you expect your vibration to be positive? If your emotions are fear-based, how can you expect your vibration to be expansive? The math simply doesn't add up. Now let me give you a very compelling example. Oprah Winfrey. She emerged from extreme poverty, endured abuse, faced discrimination, and yet built one of the entertainment world's largest fortunes. Why? Because she decided not to let her history define her identity. She shifted her internal paradigm. She rebuilt her self-image. She became the woman who could receive everything she desired. And this demonstrates irrefutably that true power doesn't reside in the external environment. It lies within. But there's also the opposite example. Consider public figures who experienced meteoric rises, only to emotionally collapse once they achieved fame and fortune. History is replete with such stories, individuals who possessed talent, opportunities, wealth, but lacked the emotional framework to bear the weight of their own greatness. When internal identity is underdeveloped and external results are immense, a fall becomes almost inevitable, because life cannot stabilize where the mind cannot dwell. That's why I say, you will never retain what your mind doesn't believe you deserve. And as long as you continue to see yourself through a narrow lens, you will keep attracting small outcomes. Vibration doesn't lie. Vibration is never wrong. It delivers precisely what you believe yourself to be, and you see. I didn't learn this in a comfortable room. I learned it alone, driving an old car, listening to the same lessons for hours, mentally repeating phrases I didn't yet believe, but was determined to believe. That decision is what kept me going. Because deep down, there comes a moment when you have to decide, truly decide, who you will be. Decision is the spark. Repetition is the fuel. The result is the inevitable consequence. And now, I want to propose a simple, yet incredibly powerful challenge. For the next 3 days, whenever you feel fear, doubt, or insecurity about money, pause for 10 seconds and ask yourself, is this my future speaking? Or is it my old paradigm trying to pull me back? Just that question alone begins to weaken the power of the old programming. Because when you identify the voice that limits you, it loses its grip. And when you empower the voice that expands you, you start to vibrate differently. This is how transformation begins, with awareness, repetition, and emotional courage. The law of attraction doesn't fail. What fails is the willingness to change what lies behind what you attract. Life is ready to deliver so much more to you, but first, you must learn to recognize yourself as someone who deserves so much more. There's an almost imperceptible instant when life truly shifts. It's not when you finally receive what you desire. It's not when money arrives, when an opportunity emerges, or when a relationship improves. Life changes before that. It changes the exact moment you alter how you perceive yourself. The law of attraction doesn't fail. It merely responds faithfully to the internal portrait you carry of yourself. And for most people, that portrait is far too small to reflect the dreams they claim to want. And perhaps you resonate with this. Perhaps you felt so close, yet simultaneously so far from the outcome you desired. Have you ever noticed how life sometimes gives you a small taste of what's possible, only to snatch it all away suddenly? That's not bad luck. That's not destiny playing games with you. That's your paradigm attempting to pull you back to the level it recognizes, the level it believes is your normal. And why does this happen? Because the human brain is wired to seek predictability. Even if that predictability is unfavorable, even if what you know is scarcity, pain, or limitation, your mind prefers the familiar to the unknown. Numerous studies indicate that our nervous system reacts to emotional growth in the same way it reacts to danger. Not because growth itself is perilous, but because it's new. And the new frightens those who haven't learned to expand themselves. Therefore, when you attempt to attract abundance with a mind conditioned by scarcity, you enter a state of vibrational conflict. Desire pulls one way, fear tugs the other. You fill with hope for a few minutes, but soon the old programming awakens. What if it doesn't work out? What if I fail again? What if I lose everything? And when these thoughts become stronger than your vision, your vibration drops. And when your vibration drops, you stop attracting what you want and revert to attracting what you fear. Now let me tell you something powerful. The universe doesn't deliver what you ask for. It delivers what you sustain. It's not enough to merely desire prosperity. You need to become the place where prosperity feels at ease. You must build within yourself an internal space where wealth isn't an oddity, where self-esteem isn't an intruder, where confidence isn't an occasional visitor, but a permanent identity. And to achieve this, you must learn to put yourself into motion even when you don't feel ready. Because no one feels ready before taking the first step. Readiness emerges afterward. It's born when you act despite your fears, despite your doubts, despite the history that tries to pull you back. I've experienced this countless times. There were moments when I'd look in the mirror and utter words that felt far too grand for me. But I kept repeating them, kept affirming them, kept vibrating at that frequency, even when it seemed distant. And it was this quiet persistence that changed everything. Because emotional consistency is the bridge between who you are and who you aspire to be. And if I may, I want to leave you with one final challenge that, if you truly embrace it, will profoundly alter your vibrational field. For the next 7 days, choose a single action that symbolically embodies the identity you wish to step into. It doesn't have to be grand, it just needs to be consistent. It could be waking up 1/2 hour earlier, organizing your finances in a notebook, walking while listening to something that expands your mind, setting aside even a few dollars for investments, practicing gratitude in the morning, or visualizing your goal for 2 minutes before sleep. The important thing is that this action represents who you aspire to become, not who you have been. Because when you act as the future version of yourself, the universe begins to recognize you as that version. And when that happens, doors begin to swing open. New paths materialize, the right people appear. Opportunities that once seemed invisible suddenly start to brilliantly illuminate your way. None of this is mere coincidence. It's vibration, it's identity, it's the coherence between what you feel and what you attract. And as you allow these ideas to settle within you, remember that this inner shift that began here doesn't need to be kept to yourself. There's always someone somewhere facing a silent battle, searching for a fresh perspective, yearning for a moment of clarity. And perhaps this video is precisely what that person needs to take the next step. If someone came to mind just now, even subtly, trust that intuition. Share this video with that special person. Small gestures truly possess the power to transform entire destinies. Thank you for being here, for dedicating this moment to your own growth. And know that I'll be waiting for you in the next video as we continue this journey together.